The door burst open with a force that shattered the steamy silence of the bathroom, and there stood my father, his face twisting from confusion to horror as he saw me and Jake, my best friend since childhood, locked in an embrace under the cascading water. Time froze. The world narrowed to the pounding of my heart and the sharp intake of his breath. A single moment that would unravel the carefully woven fabric of our lives. I pulled away, water dripping from my hair, stammering excuses that sounded hollow even to me, but the damage was done. Secrets long buried were now exposed to the harsh light of reality. My name is Alex Thompson, a 22-year-old college student majoring in psychology at the University of Washington in Seattle. Growing up in a conservative suburb just outside the city, life had always been about fitting in. Football games on Fridays, church on Sundays, and the unspoken expectation to follow in my dad's footsteps as a mechanic at the family garage. Dad, Robert Thompson, was the epitome of the all-American man, broad-shouldered, calloused hands from years of wrenching engines, and a no-nonsense attitude shaped by his military past. Mom, Sarah, balanced him out with her gentle demeanor, working as a nurse and keeping our home filled with the aroma of homemade apple pie. We were the picture-perfect family, or so everyone thought. Jake Miller had been part of that picture since we were kids. We met in second grade when his family moved from Texas to our neighborhood. With his easy smile, tousled brown hair, and a knack for making even the dullest days adventurous, Jake quickly became my shadow. We did everything together. Building forts in the woods, sneaking out to catch fireflies, and later, navigating the awkwardness of high school crushes, though mine were always a bit more complicated. I dated a few girls, like Emily in junior year, but those relationships felt scripted, like I was playing a role in someone else's story. Jake, on the other hand, seemed effortlessly straight, charming the cheerleaders with his southern drawl that never fully faded. It started subtly during our freshman year of college. We roomed together in a cramped dorm, sharing late-night study sessions and whispered confessions about our fears. One evening, after a particularly grueling exam, we cracked open a couple of beers, contraband smuggled in by Jake's ingenuity. The conversation turned personal. "You ever feel like you're hiding something from everyone?" he asked, his eyes locking onto mine in a way that sent a jolt through me. I nodded, my throat tight, not daring to voice the truth that had been gnawing at me since puberty. I was gay, and worse, I was falling for him. That night, nothing happened physically, but the air between us shifted. We began spending more time alone, away from our frat buddies. Hikes in the Olympic National Park became our escape, where the towering evergreens shielded us from prying eyes. On one such trip, as we sat by a crystal-clear stream, Jake admitted his own confusion. Back in Texas, my folks drilled it into me. Be a man, find a wife, build a life. But with you, Alex, feels different. Real. His words hung in the air like mist, and I leaned in, our foreheads touching in a gesture that was both innocent and electric. It was the beginning of something beautiful and terrifying. But beauty has a price. Back in the dorm, we navigated stolen moments. A brush of hands under the table. A lingering hug that said more than words. We rationalized it as experimentation, two guys figuring things out in a liberal city like Seattle. Yet deep down I knew it was more. The guilt crept in during quiet hours. Thoughts of my parents' disappointed faces, the church sermons decrying unnatural lifestyles, and the fear of losing everything. Jake felt it too. His family was even more rigid, with a pastor father who preached fire and brimstone. We promised each other secrecy, vowing to keep this hidden until we were ready. That vow shattered on a rainy Saturday afternoon. We'd come home for the weekend to help Dad with a big repair job at the garage. Exhausted and covered in grease, we decided to shower before dinner. What started as playful banter escalated into something deeper, a kiss that tasted of freedom and forbidden fruit. The water masked our whispers, but not the creak of the door. Dad's entry was unannounced. He'd come to grab his razor, oblivious until he wasn't. His roar echoed off the tiles. What the hell is this? Jake and I scrambled for towels, our faces burning with shame. Dad's eyes, usually steady, now blazed with betrayal. He stormed out, slamming the door so hard the frame shook. In the hallway, I heard him muttering curses, his voice breaking. Mom's concerned questions floated up from downstairs, but he brushed her off. That night, dinner was a tense affair, forced smiles and clinking silverware masking the storm brewing. The next morning, Dad called me into his study, a room filled with military medals and faded photos of our family vacations. "Sit down, son," he said, his tone clipped. I obeyed, my heart pounding. He paced, hands clasped behind his back like a drill sergeant. "I raised you better than this. Is this some phase? College nonsense." His words stung, laced with disbelief and anger. I tried to explain that it wasn't a choice, that Jake and I cared deeply, but he cut me off. "Care? This isn't care. It's confusion. You'll end this, or so help me. I'll make sure you do." The ultimatum hung heavy. Jake, overhearing from the kitchen, looked pale when I relayed it. "What do we do?" he whispered. I had no answer. The conflict tore at me. Loyalty to my family versus the pull of my heart. That day marked the beginning of a fracture, one that would test every bond one held dear. As weeks passed, the secrecy amplified. We returned to campus, but Dad's words echoed in my mind. Phone calls home became interrogations, subtle probes about my social life. Mom sensed the tension, her voice laced with worry during our weekly chats. "Your father loves you, Alex. He's just traditional." Traditional, that was code for intolerant, rooted in a generation that viewed anything outside the norm as a threat. Jake and I tried to pull back, focusing on studies and part-time jobs. He worked at a coffee shop downtown while I tutored psych students. But the distance only heightened the longing. Late-night texts turned into clandestine meetings in empty lecture halls. Each encounter carried risk, but the thrill outweighed it, until it didn't. One evening, after a heated argument with Dad over the phone about my priorities, I confided in Jake. "He thinks I'm throwing my life away." Jake pulled me close, his embrace a bomb. "We're not throwing anything away. We're building something." His optimism clashed with my growing dread. What if Dad was right? What price would we pay for this? The first crack appeared when rumors started swirling in our social circle. A mutual friend, Mike, overheard a conversation and pieced things together. "Dude, you and Jake? That's unexpected." His tone was neutral, but the word spread like wildfire. Soon, stares followed us in the cafeteria, whispers trailing our steps. Seattle was progressive, but even here, judgment lingered. Back home, Dad's silence was deafening. He avoided my calls, leaving Mom as the intermediary. "Give him time," she pleaded. But time only deepened the divide. Jake's family remained blissfully ignorant for now. His dad called regularly, boasting about setting him up with the pastor's daughter. "Time to settle down, son." Jake laughed it off, but I saw the strain in his eyes. Amid this turmoil, we made a pact. No more hiding, but carefully. We'd come out on our terms. Little did we know, forces beyond our control were aligning to force our hand. The campus buzz grew louder, turning whispers into outright questions. During a group project meeting, Sarah, a sharp-witted classmate, pulled me aside. "Alex, is it true about you and Jake?" No judgment, just curious. Her smile was genuine, but the intrusion felt like a violation. I mumbled something non-committal, but inside, panic surged. If word reached home, the fallout would be catastrophic. Jake handled it better, deflecting with humor. "People need hobbies," he'd say, but his laughs rang hollow. We decided to lay low, skipping parties and sticking to our dorm. Yet, isolation bred its own monsters. Nights were spent dissecting our futures. Could we build a life together? What about careers, family, society? My psych classes amplified the internal debate. Nature versus nurture, identity formation, societal norms. I journaled furiously, pages filled with questions about morality. Was loving Jake wrong, or was the wrong in hiding it? A turning point came during spring break. Instead of going home, we road tripped to Portland, Oregon, a city even more liberal than Seattle. The drive was liberating. Windows down, indie rock blasting, hands intertwined on the gear shift. In a cozy Airbnb, we talked for hours. "I don't want to lose you," Jake confessed, his voice cracking. "But my family, they'd disown me." I nodded, sharing my own fears. Dad's military background made him unyielding. Deviation equaled weakness. That weekend, we explored the city hand in hand, blending into the crowd. It felt normal, a glimpse of what could be. But reality crashed back on the return drive. A call from Mom. "Your father wants you home next weekend. No excuses." Her tone brooked no argument. Jake squeezed my hand. "We'll face it together." Arriving home, the atmosphere was charged. Dad greeted us curtly, his eyes lingering on Jake with suspicion. Dinner was awkward small talk until Dad dropped the bomb. "I know what's going on. A friend from church saw you two in Portland, holding hands like it's nothing." His fork clattered against the plate. Mom gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. The confrontation erupted. "This stops now," Dad thundered. "You're confusing each other. Jake, you're welcome here as a friend, but nothing more." Jake stood, face flushed. "With respect, sir, it's not confusion. I love your son." The word love hung like a grenade. Dad's chair scraped back as he rose. "Love? That's not love. It's perversion. Get out." Jake left, shoulders slumped. I chased after him, but he drove off into the night. Back inside, Dad's tirade continued. "I won't have this under my roof. Choose your family or this mistake." Tears stung my eyes. "It's not a choice, Dad. It's who I am." He turned away, the silence more painful than words. Mom tried mediating, her nursing instincts kicking in. "Robert, he's our son." But Dad was immovable. "Sarah, think about what the neighbors will say. The church." Social standing trumped everything. That night, I lay awake, replaying the scene. The betrayal stung. Not from Dad, but from the friend who spied. Trust eroded, replaced by paranoia. Jake called later, his voice steady. "We can't let them win. But I need time." Time we were running out. Back at school, the rumors escalated. Mike confronted Jake. "If you're gay, own it. But don't drag Alex down." The words ignited a fight. Punches flew, landing them both in the dean's office. Suspension loomed, adding academic pressure to the mix. I confided in a counselor, spilling my turmoil. "It's like walking a tightrope," I said. She nodded empathetically. "Coming out is a process, but suppressing it leads to resentment." Her advice resonated, but action terrified me. Meanwhile, Jake's family caught wind through a cousin at our university. His dad's call was explosive. "You're no son of mine if this is true." Jake hung up, shattered. We met in a park, rain mirroring our tears. "What now?" I asked. Jake's resolve hardened. "We fight, but together." Our embrace was defiant, but the cost mounted. Friends divided. Some supportive, others distant. The social fallout mirrored our internal battles, doubt versus desire. A moral dilemma arose when Dad offered an olive branch. "Therapy. To fix this," he said. I agreed, hoping for understanding. The sessions were grueling, the therapist neutral but probing. "Why hide?" she asked. I realized, fear of rejection. But each visit chipped at my facade. Jake refused similar help, seeing it as conversion. Tension brewed between us. "You're letting them brainwash you," he accused. I fired back. "I'm trying to bridge the gap." The argument escalated, words like daggers. For the first time, doubt crept in. Was this worth it? As summer approached, decisions loomed. Jobs, internships, our paths diverged. Jake considered moving to San Francisco, a gay haven. "Come with me," he urged. But family ties pulled me back. The choice tore at me. Love or legacy? The pressure peaked at a family barbecue. Relatives gathered, oblivious to the undercurrents. Uncle Tom, a vocal conservative, joked about those liberals in Seattle. Dad laughed, but his eyes watched me. When Jake arrived, invited by Mom, the air thickened. Whispers started. Aunt Linda pulled Mom aside. Is there something we should know? The evening unraveled when Uncle Tom confronted us. Heard rumors, boys. Hope it's not true. Jake snapped. And if it is? Chaos ensued, shouts, accusations. Dad intervened, but his defense was half-hearted. Enough, he bellowed. In the aftermath, he pulled me aside. See what you've caused? Division. Guilt consumed me. Had I selfishly upended lives? Jake left angry, our relationship strained. That night, I questioned everything. Was love justification for pain? Reconciliation seemed impossible. Dad's words echoed. Division. I spent days reflecting, weighing the moral scales. Society preached acceptance, but reality bit harder in our tight-knit community. Church friends distanced themselves. Mom's book club buzzed with gossip. The stigma was palpable, a shadow over our home. Jake and I patched things up, but scars remained. We need a plan, he said. We researched LGBTQ+ resources, support groups, legal rights. Attending a meeting in Seattle was eye-opening. Stories of disownment, resilience. One man shared losing his family but gaining authenticity. The price is high, but freedom is priceless. His words inspired yet terrified. Back home, Mom confided her struggles. I love you, Alex, but your father. He's scared. Scared of change, judgment. I urged her to talk to him, planting seeds of empathy. Meanwhile, Jake faced his own storm. His parents flew in from Texas, demanding answers. The meeting at a neutral cafe was tense. This is a sin, his dad proclaimed. Jake stood firm. Love isn't sin. They left unresolved, cutting financial support. The loss hit hard. Jake's scholarship covered tuition, but living expenses mounted. He took extra shifts, exhaustion etching lines on his face. I offered help, but pride refused. I'll manage. Our dates became rare, replaced by worry. A societal clash emerged at university. A protest against anti-LGBTQ+ legislation drew us in. We marched, signs high. Love is love. Adrenaline surged, but so did risks. Counter-protesters hurled slurs. One recognized me from home. Word traveled fast, Dad called furious. Protesting? You're embarrassing us. The call devolved into shouts. I'm fighting for my right to exist, I yelled. Silence followed, then a click. Disconnection literal and metaphorical. Internal conflict raged. Nights, I pondered ethics. Was defying parents disrespectful or necessary for self? Psych texts offered no clear answers. Identity versus conformity. Jake's optimism waned. Doubt crept in. Maybe we're rushing, he mused. The suggestion stung, hinting at retreat. Betrayal struck from an unexpected source. Mike, our friend, outed us on social media. A passive-aggressive post about secrets. Likes poured in, comments vicious. Privacy violated, we felt exposed. Jake confronted him. Why? Mike shrugged. Truth hurts. The fallout. Lost friendships. Online harassment. We hunkered down, but the toll mounted. My grades slipped. Therapy intensified. You're grieving, the counselor said. Grieving the life I thought I'd have. Family pressure escalated. Dad issued an ultimatum. End it with Jake, or no more support. Tuition, car gone. Mom pleaded, compromise. But compromise meant denial. Jake's response, choose us. The divide widened. A weekend getaway to the coast aimed to reconnect. Waves crashing, we bared souls. I can't lose you, I admitted. Jake echoed, but added, or myself. Returning, crisis hit. Dad suffered a minor heart scare. Stress-induced, doctors said. Mom blamed the turmoil. Guilt crushed me. Visiting the hospital, Dad looked frail. This is killing me, son. Tears welled. Was my happiness worth his health? Moral quandary deepened. Sacrifice for family, or pursue love? Society's lens blurred lines. Heroes and stories chose love, but reality demanded balance. Jake supported from afar, his own family silent. We'll weather this. But storms intensified. A turning point. Community event at church. Dad invited me, hoping for clarity. I attended warily. The sermon on forgiveness resonated, but undertones condemned. Afterward, a parishioner approached. "Pray the gay away." Rage boiled. I left. Home, I confronted Dad. "That's not help. It's hate." He softened slightly. "I don't hate you. I fear for you." Vulnerability peeked through armor. Progress? Incremental. Mom suggested family therapy. Dad resisted, but agreed reluctantly. First session. Awkward silences, then breakthroughs. "I want grandkids, a normal life," Dad admitted. I countered, "Normal is subjective." Jake joined a session, tension thick. Accusations flew. "You corrupted him." Jake, "Love isn't corruption." The therapist mediated, highlighting biases. Post-session, reflection. Change possible? Hope flickered, but society pushed back. Job interviews for summer. Subtle discrimination. Family-oriented. Codes for straight. Jake landed a gig in SF, offer tempting. It's a fresh start. Pull between coasts mirrored internal tug. Decision time approached. Stay, mend family, or go? Embrace identity? The choice would define us, and the prices paid. The family therapy sessions became battlegrounds, where words were weapons and silences wounds. In one particularly heated exchange, Dad leaned forward, veins bulging. "You think this is easy for me? Watching my son throw away his future for this?" His finger jabbed toward Jake, who sat rigid, jaw set. I intervened. "My future includes him, Dad. Why can't you see that?" The therapist's calm voice cut through. "Robert, what are you really afraid of?" He slumped, muttering about legacy, judgment from peers. It was a crack in his facade, but healing was slow, like mending a fractured bone. Outside therapy, life pressed on. Jake accepted the San Francisco job, a tech startup needing his coding skills. "It's entry-level but promising," he said, eyes alight with possibility. The city symbolized freedom. Pride parades, accepting communities. "Come with me, Alex. We can build something there." The invitation tempted, but roots held me. Seattle was home, family, friends, unfinished degree. "What about us?" I asked. He promised visits, but distance loomed as a threat. Betrayal reared again, this time from within. Mom, in a moment of desperation, confided in Aunt Linda, hoping for advice. Instead, Linda spread it family-wide. Texts flooded. Cousins questioning, grandparents disappointed. "We raised you better," Grandma wrote. The invasion felt like a gut punch. Mom apologized tearfully. "I needed someone to talk to." Forgiveness came hard. Trust frayed. Jake's departure date neared. We spent nights packing, conversations laced with urgency. "Promise you'll visit," he said. I nodded, but doubt gnawed. Long distance strained even straight couples. Ours carried extra baggage. A moral crossroads emerged when Dad offered reconciliation with conditions. "If you end this, I'll pay for grad school. Give you the garage one day. Bribe or olive branch." Temptation flickered. Security versus authenticity. I confided in Jake. "It's everything I thought I wanted." He paled. "But not me." The argument exploded, accusations of weakness, selfishness. "You're choosing them over us," he yelled. I stormed out, regret immediate. Reconciliation with Jake was tentative. "I'm scared," I admitted. He softened. "Me too." But the seed of doubt sprouted. Society's hand forced issues. A local news story about a gay teen disowned hit close. Protests ensued. We joined, chanting for equality. Media coverage captured us. Faces on TV. Dad saw, calling irate. "Now the whole town knows." Humiliation fueled his anger. The fallout. Garage customers dwindled. Whispers of boycott. Dad blamed me. "Your choices affect us all." Guilt compounded. Was individualism selfish in a connected world? Jake left for SF amid tears. Airport farewell. Promises whispered. Embraces tight. "This isn't goodbye," he said. but it felt like one. Alone, isolation hit. Therapy continued, but without Jake, progress stalled. Dad pushed. See? It's over. Move on. Pressure mounted. A surprise. Supportive messages from unexpected sources. A high school teacher emailed, "Proud of you." It bolstered resolve. But damage accumulated. Health suffered. Sleepless nights, anxiety spikes. Counselor prescribed meds, but stigma lingered. Moral debates intensified internally. Utilitarianism. Greatest good for most? Family's happiness over mine? Or Kantian duty to self? Reunion with Jake via video calls sustained us, but cracks showed. Met someone at work, he mentioned casually. Jealousy flared. Already? He backpedaled. Just friends. Trust eroded. Confrontation brewed when Dad discovered the calls. Still clinging? Sneer in his voice. I snapped, "Yes, because I love him." Admission bold but costly, Dad withdrew emotionally. Mom bridged, organizing a neutral dinner. Tension simmered. Small talk avoided landmines. But progress. Dad asked about Jake's job, curiosity peaking. Hope reignited, but shattered by Jake's confession. I kissed someone. Betrayal stabbed deep. Why? Hurt choked me. Loneliness, he admitted. Forgiveness? Debatable. The revelation forced reevaluation. Was our love resilient or fragile? Decisions loomed. Forgive or let go? Family or freedom? The prices paid mounted, each choice a double-edged sword. The confession hung between us like a noose, tightening with every silent second on the video call. Jake's face, pixelated and remorseful, pleaded for understanding. It was a mistake, Alex. One drunken night. It meant nothing. But words couldn't erase the image searing my mind. Him with another man. Lips that were mine touching another's. Betrayal's sting was visceral. A punch to the gut that left me breathless. How can I trust you now? I whispered, ending the call before tears fell. Days blurred into a haze of anger and sorrow. I threw myself into studies, finals a welcome distraction. But nights brought torment. Memories of our first kiss clashing with this new reality. Moral quandary. Forgive infidelity or demand fidelity? Society excused slips in straight relationships. Why not ours? But pain didn't discriminate. Dad sensed my turmoil, his approach softening. Whatever happened, maybe it's a sign. Opportunistic, but genuine concern laced his words. Therapy delved deeper. Betrayal triggers abandonment fears, the counselor noted. Rooted in childhood? Perhaps Dad's strictness fostered it. Jake bombarded with apologies, texts, voicemails. Come to SF. Let's fix this. Temptation warred with pride. Mom advised, love requires work, but work demanded sacrifice. A visit to SF decided it. Flight booked impulsively, heart pounding. The city buzzed with energy. Rainbow flags waving, couples unapologetic. Jake met me at the airport, embrace tentative. I'm sorry, he murmured. We walked the hills, talking till dawn. He explained, isolation, doubt. But you're it for me. Vulnerability mended some wounds. Reconnection was cautious, dinners, walks in Golden Gate Park. But undercurrents persisted. His colleague, the kiss culprit, lingered in conversations. Jealousy festered. Arguments flared. You don't trust me, he accused. Truth hurt. Back home, Dad's health improved, but emotional scars remained. Family dinner, probing questions. Seeing anyone? Code for straight. I deflected, but tension built. Societal pressure amplified via a workplace incident. My internship at a psych clinic. A client recognized me from protests. You're that gay guy? Discomfort ensued. Assignments shifted. Discrimination subtle but real. Moral trade-offs crystallized. Pursue Jake, risk family? Or conform, lose self? Jake proposed, move here, start fresh. Job offers tempted, tech boom inclusive. But leaving meant abandoning mending with Dad. Ultimatum from Jake, choose, echoing Dad's. Irony bitter. Crisis peaked at a family wedding. Cousin marrying traditionally. Expectations high. Dad pulled me aside. Bring a date, a girl. Defiance rose. No. Argument public. Relatives witnessing. You're tearing us apart. Dad hissed. Escape to SF followed. Jake welcomed, but strain showed. You can't keep running. Truth. Damage assessed. Friendships lost. Family fractured. Self-esteem battered. Awakening dawned. Happiness internal, not dictated. But costs. Jake's impatience grew. If you won't commit. Threat unspoken. Decision time, all or nothing. The San Francisco fog mirrored my clouded mind as I paced Jake's tiny apartment, the weight of choices pressing down. I can't keep splitting myself, I told him, voice steady despite the turmoil. We'd rebuilt somewhat, forgiveness granted, but tentatively. Yet, home called, Dad's tentative outreach via mom. He misses you. The pull was magnetic, a siren's song of familiarity versus the unknown. Jake's eyes searched mine. Then what? Us? Valid question. Long distance failed once. Repetition madness. Moral calculus. Personal fulfillment versus relational duty? Psych training offered frameworks but no solutions. Return to Seattle was bittersweet. Dad greeted warily, but hugged. A first in months. Let's talk. Over coffee, vulnerabilities spilled. I was wrong to push, he admitted. Fear drove me. Breakthrough, acceptance budding. Jake visited, tension palpable but civil. Dinner. Awkward laughs, shared stories. Dad asked questions, genuine curiosity. What drew you to my son? Jake. His heart. Moment poignant. But society tested. Community event. Anti-LGBTQ plus rally countered by Pride supporters. We attended, Dad tagging hesitantly. Exposure shifted perspectives. Didn't realize the hate, he murmured. Internal peace grew. Journal entries evolved. From despair to hope. Choices prices paid, but growth earned. Jake and I navigated carefully visits, plans, compromise. I'd finish school, then join him in SF. Family visits promised. Awakening complete. Love's forms varied, but authenticity paramount. Yet questions lingered. Was sacrificing family bonds for personal truth justifiable? Or does duty to kin outweigh individual desires?